Hi, I am live from the vehicle. We will see how long this actually lasts. So, before we get started, you guys know the drill. We know you're in the comments live if you are. If you're watching the replay, let me know. #replay in the comments. So I want to talk a little bit about rejection today. The rejection is a really interesting thing, right? Like it feels like someone is denying something that's true. But it's not. Okay? So like we're going to talk about this from the context of dating, but you can also apply this to the context of like work, of pretty much anything where you would receive a no you weren't expecting. Okay? So first off, I want you to actually just think of like a time where you've received a no, like some form of rejection. Typically, when you are in your body, you will just feel the truth and the resonance of that, right? Their no will just match what you know deep in your bones, right? So for example, you apply for a job, the job's not a right fit, they say no, and you're like, yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to work there anyways. Like it's actually not true for me to even apply, right? Or if you go on a date with someone, the date wasn't great and the person was like, yeah, you know what, I'm not interested in pursuing this. And you're like, yeah, I felt that too. Like there's a resonance with it, but only if you're actually in your body, okay? Because if you are not inside of your body, like really grounded in yourself, you'll be up in your mind, okay? What I mean by that is that if someone rejects you, someone gives you a no, your immediate response will be, why? What did I do? What was wrong? What did I do to create the no in you? Right? So in the context of a job, it'd be like, oh, well, what am I missing? Okay? In the context of a relationship, what am I missing? Now, here's the thing. It actually doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter why they are a no to you unless you intend to change that thing about you to make sure it's not a no next time. Okay? Follow me. This works in like the workplace area. If you're like, I want to be a particular role and that's the thing that I want, and you might not be a right fit for that particular job. If someone tells you this is why, you will go therefore working on all of these things, right? But then if you get told again, no, it's not a fit, and you want to know why, when it's just not true, it's not resonant, there is no reason. Like the only reason is no reason at all, right? So when we look at this from like a dating context, sometimes there's just like, I just don't desire to move forward, right? And there actually isn't a reason. And when we ask someone for a reason, all we're doing at that point is asking someone to lie. We're asking them, well, why are you telling me no? And what can I do differently next time? Which basically says, hi, give me the answer so I know how to do things right and manipulate for the outcome I actually want. If I tell you no, and you ask me why, and I say, oh, it's these reasons, you'll go and you'll do whatever you need to hide those things from the next person. And those things, if they're true about you, and if they're honest about you, the person that is for you, that is a yes to all of those things, misses out on them. Because now you use my reasons for no, as a justification for hiding that side of yourself. Okay? So I'm going to use myself as an example when people have been a no to me, and how I have in the past changed myself in response to that. So for example, it takes a very special kind of man to be totally unfazed with a woman who teaches anal meditations. Okay? Like one who doesn't have an opinion on it, one who isn't like, whose, confidence doesn't get hit, whatever. But there's been times when I will go on a date with somebody and they'll have a lot of opinions and they'll have a lot of concerns. Now, if I am leading with the goal of being with this person and I want to be with this person, right? And I hear that they're a no to me based on this aspect of myself, what happens? I want the goal more than I want myself. I want the acquisition of something more than I want the integrity to me. Okay? Following? So you'll end up in a spot where like, oh, if being with you means I have to let go of this thing of me, yeah, I can totally get rid of that. That's not a problem. I'll hide that aspect of myself. A lot of the ways that this shows up, particularly with men and women in relationships, one party won't like weed, the other party is an avid smoker. The avid smoker will be like, oh yeah, no, I don't need weed, it's fine. But they enjoy it. And now this part of them is totally hidden, totally dismissed for them to be in relationship with this person. When really, if they had not hidden that side, they'd just understand that that fit isn't there. But there is somebody there who is a fit, who does want that in their life. Okay? So what happens is like, when we're unwilling to see the no for what it is as just like a totally reasonless no, it's just a no. When we go hunting for a reason, it's because we're hunting for the thing that we can hide to ensure the acquisition of the thing that we actually want, rather than actually receiving the truth of what actually is that you're not a fit with that person. Okay? So basically, the thing that I want you guys to really sit with is like, there is no reason that is ever going to be enough for your mind in a no. When somebody tells you no, if you're in your mind, all you're going to want to know is all the things that you did wrong or what didn't work out. So you can do something with that information. But what are you actually going to do with that information? What is actually possible with the information of why, if we're on a date and I'm like, hey, I'm a no to this, and you ask me why, what on earth is possible through the answer I could give you? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. Because my no is going to be different than some other broad's no. You don't need to know why I'm a no. It's just that I am a no. And it's going to be just a no that comes out of the blue and just being like, you know what, that's not a part of my path. Your hunt for the reasons of why I'm a no, one, induces me to lie because not all my no's have a reason, right? Like now I'm pulling out of thin air to come up with something to satisfy you, but nothing is going to satisfy you. Because if you were actually in your body, you'd feel the resonance of my no. Or, you take that information that I give you, even though I've lied about it. Oh, the reason I'm a no to you is because you smoke too much weed or you drink too much or whatever. Now you've learned that those things are unacceptable. To who, though? To me, the person that you're not a fit for. But those things might be totally fucking cool with the broad that you are fit for. So what happens is your mind interferes with the acceptance of what's true and what's not. Your mind will gaslight you before fucking anybody else will. Right? And so I'm guilty of this. I know other people are guilty of this. But like when you receive a no, if the immediate question is why, you are in your brain. You are in your mind, and the only thing possible of that information even being given to you is so you can manipulate for an outcome you'd rather prefer. Rather than being with the truth of what is. I don't want to be with somebody who has to change themselves to be with me. And I certainly don't want to give him information about how he will change himself in the face of somebody else. And so all this guy is constantly doing is shifting who he is in hopes it will acquire the woman that he supposedly wants. If you have to change yourself at all to receive someone's attention, they're not a fit. You don't have to have a reason to be a no. And so the reason why I share this is like I'm really sitting in a spot where I've in the past been really scared to give my no. And I've been scared to give my no because most of my no's don't have reason. And I've faced a lot of times where people want the reason to my no. They're like, well, why? Why are you a no? Why don't you want this? I don't fucking know. I just don't. I don't want that. Like when someone's like, hey, do you want chocolate? No, I'm good. Well, why not? I don't fucking know. I just don't want chocolate today. Like, It's not fitting. It's not jiving with the energy I'm bringing. The moment that you ask the question why, you are trying to acquire information, but the information has to be useful. And so what is it being used for? If it's being used so you can manipulate your presence to people, then it's not true. I am not going to play that game anymore. I'm not going to tell you why I'm a no so you can change that thing about yourself and manipulate the next person into thinking that you are a way that you're not. Right? Because you think that all women don't like X because I'm a no for that reason. No, I know lots of women who are into things that I'm not into. That I'm just like a hard fucking no to, right? One of the places that I'm a hard no is like, I'm a hard no to how people talk about their exes. I don't care that you have exes. But like, if you talk about your exes in a way that pedestalizes me in the process, I'm a no to that. Because I know that you did that with them. And pedestalization is a real easy way to get demonized later on when you don't fit a certain narrative that person has. Now, I know other girls who really love being pedestalized, right? They really love the feeling and the attention of being the best and like being better than the exes, right? Like there's even songs about it, right? Like, oh, I'm better than your ex. Like people get off on that. Listen, go find one of them. But like, I'm not going to be a yes to that. And so what happens is because I've had the habit of being so scared to give my no, because my no doesn't come with reason, I pull for some fucking reason. Like, okay, well, they're asking me why. Well, why am I a no? And I was like, okay, well, I just got to come up with something. And the reality is, your no doesn't have a reason. It's reasonless. It's unreasonable. And the truth is that if you do come up with a reason for your no, and you actually share that with that person, you are also implying that thing needs to be fixed inside of them. I'm a no because you smoke too much. Now this person believes that smoking is the thing that they enjoy to do is needs to be fixed. That that's a problem. That's the reason why they didn't get the girl. If you really wanted the guy, the smoking wouldn't be the reason. The reason wouldn't matter, right? But the truth is like the person that is a fit for that person's life and that lifestyle and their choices doesn't need that person to change. And I think there's this argument with people where it's like, oh, well, relationships are compromised and everybody changes a little in their relationship. I mean, sure. But if I said no, it actually doesn't matter what you do. There's nothing you can do at that point because my no has no reason. And if you were in your body, you could feel that. Like you could just feel the truth of like, this isn't going to go anywhere. But because you're in your mind, you want to understand, you want to pull and extract so you could fix something about yourself and change the outcome. But you're not going to change the outcome. So if you just like take a minute, come out of your mind and just like sit and receive someone's no, you'll understand there's nowhere else to go, right? There's nothing you could do, nothing you could say, nothing that could be shifted. It's just a no. And what I found is like, I've been practicing my no's a little bit. I went on a date a couple weeks ago with somebody and I told him, I was like, hey, I don't want to see, like, I'm not interested in pursuing this any further. And he was delightful. He was super sweet. And he was like, thank you so much. Appreciate your honesty. Have a great night. Cool. Done. One message. Said no to somebody else. And it was literally like paragraphs upon paragraphs. And it was like, you're not receiving my no. One. And two, you're extracting from my no to try to find something you can change to change the outcome. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. It is such a disservice to your life and mine, right? If I tell you I'm a no, you go and change that thing. Now the girl who is actually aligned to you doesn't get to see that thing because you've already decided, well, that thing doesn't get me the girl, so let me hide that. It doesn't work. It's not going to work long term anyways. And basically it just creates this facade of who you think you're supposed to be in front of people rather than you genuinely showing up as you are. And I think that's part of the problem when it comes down to like, dating tips. Like everyone's trying to make somebody like them. And if you have to try to make me to like you, What are you hiding that I won't see? And be like, oh, well, I'm really transparent. Yeah, but like you're trying to make me like you. So you're highlighting the things that you think that I might like rather than revealing who you actually are and seeing if I do. Like, that's a whole different ballgame. Like, trying to make you like me has a lot of forceful effort versus like revealing and seeing if you like me is like, that's transparency, you know? So this is your permission, not that you need it, to just say no without reason. And that when you receive a no, to see what part of you actually wants to know why. Like, why did you get a no? And notice how you have to be really fucking in your brain to even ask that. Now, again, applying for a job might be a different story. But again, that is like, I want the thing. So what do I have to change about myself to get the thing? Rather than like, revealing who I am is already perfect for the thing. And if I don't get that one, then I'll apply for a different one. As myself. I'm not going to change myself just to get a job. I'm not going to change myself just to get a boy. I'm not going to change myself just to get a girl. You know what I mean? So the lack of reception to someone's no is the immediate response. Why? What did I do? What did I do? And it's like, just accept their fucking no. That's what you're doing now. But it's like a pulling energy. Like, I've got to know why I didn't get my way here so I can change that. Rather than being like, oh, they're a no. That's fine. I'm going to go who I am as me somewhere else where they're a yes. Where somebody is a yes, right? Same thing happens with clients. Like, imagine if I like changed my offerings just so I could get this one client. It's a manipulation. It's like, oh, let me get this person versus like, oh, this person's a right fit. Like, this is an aligned thing. This is a true choice. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people are actually no for bullshit reasons, but a no that's in your body doesn't really have them. It's such a final thing. An embodied no is so final that someone asking a mental question like, well, why are you a no, is like, fuck, I wish I could tell you something that would be satisfying, but there is no reason enough that's going to be satisfying to your brain. It doesn't matter what I say. Like, doesn't matter what reason I give you for why I was a no, your brain will never be satisfied. You'll keep trying to like shift and mold and manipulate the situation so that those reasons don't make sense, right? You'll try to trump those reasons. Like, oh, I'm a no because you smoke too much weed. I only smoke like once a week. So that's not a good enough reason for your no. See what I mean? Like, your brain is so fucking intelligent that it will counter fucking everything that someone could possibly give you as a justification for their no. You will never be happy in hearing why someone's a no. Partly, one, because it's bullshit, right? If you're actually a no, it's finite. There are no reasons. But second, that like, it wants what it can't have. The brain wants to know how it can fix and remedy the situation to acquire what it wants. That's how our brains work. Our brains are so powerful. It's like, well, how do I get this person the thing that they want? And they'll do fucking everything for it. They'll manipulate, they'll coerce, they'll argue, they'll debate, just to prove that you can get this thing, rather than just acknowledging that it's not for you, right? Like, I'll tell you the number of people who've argued with me being like, well, let me prove to you how amazing I am and why we should be together. It's like, dude, I'm already a no. Your proof and evidence actually won't change what's happening inside of me. There is actually no argument that will be satisfying to change my no. Right? And this is the thing, is like, that's what happens when we're living in our brains, is our brains can be manipulated for sure, but our bodies have a really hard time. Like, it's just, once you're no, you're fucking no. Once you're yes, you're yes. Right? And if you're a yes in the face of someone's no, then your yes is probably rooted in fantasy. And I think this is one of the teachings that I used to struggle with quite a bit, which is one of the teachings. It's called desire is co-arising. And so if it's not co-arising, it's just hallucination. So if you want me and I'm an embodied no, you're hallucinating. If I want you, but you're an embodied no, I'm hallucinating. Right? But if we're both in our bodies, we can only ever feel the resonance between us. And sometimes the resonance is that we're like excited and we're ready to move into a different direction, or we're just not a fit. But both of us have to be in our body to feel the resonance. There's no such thing as resonance that's felt in the mind. That's all mental conception. It's all like this mental masturbation of a conversation that never took place. Well, I'm a yes, so therefore that means more. No, actually, no trumps everything. And sometimes, and don't get me wrong, like sometimes you can be in your body and be hesitant because of past traumas and past experiences and want to like explore that and maybe move really slow. But like even in the moving slow does not guarantee the outcome that you want. Moving slow is about that you are going to continuously check in with yourself until you can feel an absolute answer within you about how you want things to go. So going slow, for me, going slow is really like being aware of past experiences that I'm bringing along with me. It's being aware of past traumas and saying, okay, well, I'm going to go slow here. I'm not going to let myself override my truth. I'm not going to let myself fall into fantasy. I'm just going to like be with the truth of the moment. And I might be hesitant right now, but I'm going to wait till I can feel the thud of something for myself. Now, here's the thing. Going slow means that like you might feel the thud of a no. Right? You might not get your way. You might not be with the person that you want to be with. And that's okay. It's not about the acquisition of a person. It's about the practice of actually being yourself in relation to somebody else. And if you can't be who you are with somebody else, then you can't be a yes. If you are forcing someone to be interested in you because you are hiding different pieces of you or contorting your delivery of a piece of you, you can't really be a yes either, because all of that is taking place in the mind. How can I position this story or position this narrative so that they like me? See? Do you see what I'm saying here? It becomes like a smoke and mirrors to somebody. But to someone who's embodied, you actually can't do that. Because it's all mental, right? It's smoke and mirrors. It's to the mind. But to the body, it's just a resonance. And it's just like, yeah, I'm a no. And it's not going to have a reason. And you can be like, oh, but I showed you the smoke and I showed you the mirrors. How did you come up to a no? It's like, because it actually doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you have a 6-figure job or that you come from a family or that you've got, really great group of friends. You could be the world's most perfect person. But without resonance, someone can still be a no. Because even if you're the most perfect person, not everyone is going to be perfect for you. So what makes them not perfect for you is the lack of resonance. And here's the thing, like the way that I explain it too is like, no, you don't need that. Drop it. Roxy, drop it. You don't need that. Another way to look at this is you right now could have 100 people who would be like, I would love to date them, right? Like you could have 100 people that say, I'd love to date them. But in turn, you may only want like 3 of them. You're like, I'm not even interested in the other ones. The why you're not interested actually doesn't matter. The why you're not interested in those other 97 people or 96 people doesn't matter. The resonance is between you and another person. And so if you don't resonate, that's just it. Like there's no reasons. What are you going to do? Tell those 97 other people like, oh, here's how to resonate with me? No, it's manipulative at that point. Because they didn't resonate by their nature of who they are. And now you're telling them like the cheat codes of how to resonate with you. Why? What's the benefit of that? What's the purpose of translating that information? It's only custom to you anyway. Right? And, like throughout the years, I've had different periods of my life where like a number of people actually wanted to be with me. And I didn't resonate with any of them. And I remember conversations where I felt bad for not resonating. And so I would still pursue things with these individuals, and like my no never changed. My no was still a no that it was from the beginning, and it didn't change. And I like thought I was broken because I was like, well, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like I'm not connecting with these people. And I literally thought I was broken until I'm starting to realize like there's actually guys who I connect really well with that don't connect to me, and that's fine. That means we're not a fit either. We're not a resonant fit. There's guys who connect to me and I don't connect with, vice versa, right? And it doesn't mean we're just not a resonant fit. And then there's guys who we're resonant and we like wham bam, thank you ma'am, and it's beautiful and it's connected, and then it's done. There's nothing else. It's just now we're both a no. And I think really what happens is like when we're so in our brains, strategizing and manipulating and coercing and like positioning information in a way that is presentable and makes us likable, what ends up happening is that we hide ourselves behind it, right? We hide ourselves behind the presentation of who we are, because the presentation is a much nicer thing that maybe somebody will like. But like the truth of who we are will never die. It doesn't matter what we present as. The truth of who we are will leak through at month 3, month 6, month 7, like it will leak through. And so you're presenting as this way, knowing that the presentation is actually not sustainable. Okay. The presentation is a very temporary thing to acquire and like get, right? It's like, it's an acquisition strategy. It is not a, let's see if this is true strategy, right? So then you put so much emphasis on the presentation that there is a right way to present, not the true presentation of who you are. It's a, let me present myself. This is the right way. Oh, you didn't like the presentation. So how can you're a no? Okay, why are you a no? So I can change the presentation so that you would be a yes. I'm a no because I don't give a shit about the presentation. I'm a no because I want to see the thing behind it. And the thing behind it, I may also be a no to as well. But the presentation is actually what distorts everything. Well, I need you to remove that distortion. And when you remove that distortion, I get to see who you are. And guess what? Even if I see who you are, I may not be a yes. Like that's a part of the game. It's like, you're gonna not get what you want. Like you're gonna get heartbreak and you're gonna get hurt and you're gonna get these sucky fucking moments. And then you're gonna realize that you're out of love. Like these are normal parts of being human. It's the desire to always acquire something that we start shifting who we are to present a certain way just so we get that thing. But at the end of the day, that thing isn't true, right? Like you can always tell when you've presented something to somebody, that presentation falls away. And then you're like, why the fuck are we doing this? But when you have like two naked souls coming together, they will come together for the perfect resonant amount of time of which they're supposed to be together. And that's it. 2 fakers can't last. 1 faker won't last. 2 completely authentic, transparent people about who they are and what they are, they may not even come together, but at least they're actually the most honest. So again, I'm just going to reinforce, there are no reasons to somebody's no. They're just a no when they're in their body. It's hard to accept. But when you drop out of your mind and into your body, you'll just accept it because you'll realize like, right, there's just no resonance. And there's nothing wrong with me. It's just certain like notes in a song don't match. It doesn't mean that the note itself is wrong, that it needs to change. It just means that note isn't for that song. You know? So yeah, there's not ever going to be a reason enough that your brain is going to be satisfied with anyway. Learning to receive a no because it's resonant, like, and it's deep. And the thing is too, is like the further you bring it away from your mind when you receive a no, you'll hear your ego and your mind being like, blah, 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 why, what's wrong with me? I need to fix something. And the deeper you bring it into your body, just their no, the more you can actually accept it. And just be like, okay, thank you, I hear you. But when you're in your mind, you will fight it hard. you will fight it so fucking hard. Like, what do you mean you're a no? So, if you get a no, notice your brain fucking freaking out, and then notice how your body is actually fine with it. How there's like a deeper truth that you can feel. Because really, like, do you even want to be with someone that you have to present as a certain way to get? Why? Why would you want that for yourself? I remember there was somebody years ago now. Sweet enough guy. I was going to move to Prince George, and I was really clear about that. And he was really like gung-ho to like be with me. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be here in a week. Like, and I was a little bit floored. And I remember there was a part of me that wanted to strategize even being with him. Like, oh, how could we make it work? Blah, blah, blah. And then at one point I just like I think it was lying down, and I just felt this like drop in my body. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm actually not a yes to it. It doesn't matter what strategies my brain comes up with. My soul, like the deepest part of me is like, no. Which sucks, because mentally, you know, I'd love to be in a relationship. But at what cost? And I think that's the other side of it, right? Like, at what cost is acquiring that thing that you think you want? Oh, you want the girl? Okay, at what cost? Maybe that particular girl's really controlling, so now you're never going to see the guys. Or, oh, you want that man? At what cost? You want the romance, but not realizing that means he expects something from you all the time. Like, we focus so much on the acquisition of an outcome, rather than if that outcome is even resonant with who we are. Because I'll tell you, no fucking chance am I going to end up with somebody who is like, I need to know where you are 24/7. Fuck off. You ain't going to know fucking anything. Right? Like, there's just like a hard, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to communicate that with you every fucking minute, you know? But some people are okay with that. So, yeah, I'm going to leave you guys with that. I think I've rambled enough for today. But your mind will strategize and try to manipulate, because it is in service to you in the acquisition of things, but the outcome itself might not actually be resonant, right? Like, and you'll know in your body, like, if you really drop in and you just feel the truth of it, like, that's not for me, actually. It's not for me to be with somebody who I have to present differently than I am. That's called God's filter, right? Like, if you got to change yourself just so somebody can see you, nope. And I don't want somebody to change to present a certain way for me either. Because I'll tell you, like, the guys who've been the most profound in my life, like guys who I love wholeheartedly, had nothing to hide. They were not about trying to impress me, right? They weren't trying to get me to like them. There was like an air and confidence about them where it was like, if you like me, you're gonna like me for the beauty I hold as well as the mistakes. You know, there was just this unapologetic transmission of who they are as a person. And I think that's actually the invitation people really want. We're not looking for fairy tales, actually. We're looking for the eeriness in someone, the mystery of someone, the understanding that not everybody's perfect. So when you present as perfect, there's a moment where we're like, well, why? Because even in the way you speak, you might present as perfect, but like, there'll be ways that the truth actually seeps through, right? Like, those little pockets of truth will still be there. And now the presentation doesn't match what's actually there. You lack resonance. And if I'm in my body, I can't resonate with that, right? Like, there's nothing to match to. And so even if I pick the presentation of who you are to be like, yeah, I like that, that means I ignore the truth of who you are. And if I like the truth of who you are, I have to ignore the presentation of who you are. But even if I don't like the truth of who you are, who cares if I like the presentation? Who you are isn't what I want. So, you know, and here's the thing, right? Is like, I've always found this really fascinating because different parts of my life, I've had different people want to date me, want to fuck me, whatever. And I remember being so upset because there was this period where I was like, you like your idea of me. You like who you think I am. And I would get so frustrated because it was clear that they had this like lens up of who they thought I was, but the truth of who I was wasn't something they wanted, because the truth of who I was someone they wanted to change. Right? Like they wanted the stay-at-home mom and like the one who's like always got dinner cooking for them. Like, dude, I can't even cook dinner for myself. Don't expect me to cook dinner for you. Right? So they liked this idea of who I would be in their life, but that's just not the reality of who I'm able to be, especially right now, right? And so what they would bank on is, oh, she might not be that way now, but she will be that way. It's a horrible thing to do. That's a poor investment, my friends. Right? And so I would get so upset because they wouldn't see me. And so the more that I revealed myself, the more that they were forced to be present with the truth of who I was. And at some point they realized like the truth of who I was isn't actually what they want. And I think that's really like the work. It's like, it's constant revealing of like, listen, I know what you think you see. Here's who I actually am. I know what you think you see. Here's who I actually am. Oh, you want to opt into who I actually am? Great. Can I see who you are? I want to see what do you reveal? Who are you actually? Now, do we match? Okay, great. Let's move forward then. But then what happens is, again, we become, even if there's resonance, we become so attached to the outcome that we forget the present moment. We're so in our mind that we forget to be present. So it's like, oh, this person's going to be my partner. This person's going to be a partner. This person's going to be a partner. We don't check to see if that's actually true. Like, is that the person you want to be with? Not mentally. And I'll be honest. So a couple years ago, I'm a horrible friend. I'm not a good friend. I have a hard time lying. I wear my emotions on my face. And one of my best friends had called me. It was like Christmas. And she called me and she was like, look. And she showed me on FaceTime. She was engaged. And I was like, congratulations. I'm so excited. Like, how do you ask? And then I was like, what had you say yes? Okay. And her answer was, well, it's just the next step. And my heart broke. I was like, what do you mean that's just the next step? Like, that's your mind determining that there is a logical step to things rather than the resonance of your soul being like, I couldn't imagine saying no. Like, of course I would say yes. And, you know, the truth doesn't lie. The truth will always happen. So she could have married him. Could have. That's a little foreshadowing. She could have married him. And she could have realized that he wasn't the person that was a match for her. Or she could have hated me for like 30 days, like she did. And then found the truth of who she is as a person. Because again, we were best friends. Like I know she's quirky and weird and wants to travel the world. I knew that about her. I was like, your partner doesn't like to travel. What? Like he's very clear with you staying home kind of vibes, you know? And so she ended up calling off the engagement. And now she's with someone who like is resonant. Like, it's ridiculous how resonant they are. They travel together. They believe in the same beliefs. Like they're very resonant. And that's what I mean by like, the truth doesn't lie. You could present as something for a really long time. And you could present like that for the rest of your life. And you could be content presenting that way. But the truth of who you are will always seep through. And you're going to feel what's called dissonance, a lack of harmony. Because you're not living in harmony. You are living through a filter of a lie of who you think you need to present as to keep this person. If you need a presentation to keep someone, they're not for you. This is why I don't even do sales pages. If I have to present a certain way for you to become my client, you're not for me. If you need me to have like a perfect office and like perfect sounding audio, you're not for me. If you need me to not swear and not use words like cock and cunt, like, I'm not for you. Right? I've been on dates with guys where they don't like me pointing when I'm like, oh, did you see that? Did you see that thing over there? They're like, don't point, that's rude. I'm like, I'm still gonna fucking point. Did you see the bird? Right? Or guys are like, don't swear, it's not ladylike. I'm not for you. I'm not for you, my boo. Like, no. But the thing is like you say that, like, oh, don't do that. You're actually pointing out a way that we're not resonant. because that thing about me needs to change for you to accept it. Again, they could have just been a no. I wouldn't have needed to know why. And even if I asked them why, the information that I would do with that, like what I could do with that information is fucking nothing. Oh, why are you a no? You swear too much. The only thing I could possibly do with that information is stop swearing so much. It's useless. It's useless information. Because stop swearing means also not be me. Swearing's not a big deal for me. It might be for somebody else, right? Okay, I'm rambling. I'm actually really surprised that the live stream is still going. Jesus Christ. I'm so surprised. Aren't we, Roxy? We're very surprised. Yeah. Your mind will interfere. It'll strategize, manipulate, and coerce to try to get an outcome. But it doesn't matter what the outcome actually is. The truth of who you are will seep through and either destroy the outcome you think you wanted, and it won't matter. Work on receiving someone's no without reason. Work on delivering your no without reason. That's much harder, especially for the ladies out there. I know it. It is so hard to deliver a no without reason. When you're in body, there isn't any. It's like, it's just no. It's so hard. You know, I'll tell you, like recently I gave a no to somebody and I found myself pulling for fucking reasons. Oh, what's going to be a good thing to say to him that makes sense? It doesn't matter. That reason won't be sufficient for his mind. If he wants to know why, you're a no. Truth is, you don't want to. That's it. Sucks. It's not great, but like, it's honest. So, get out of your mind, get into your body. You'll know what's the next step for you. It might not make sense. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it all, is that it doesn't actually make sense. There is no logical rhythm to why you are with someone. And I think that's why, you know, I brought up one of my best friends is like, it wasn't logical. Like the person she's with now, nothing about that relationship is logical. But it's true. You don't get into relationship with someone because it's logical. You get it because it's honest, it's reverent, and it's resonant, and it's just that you two have a connection on like the most naked versions of yourselves. But if you can't be the naked version of yourself, then you are presenting as something to connect to, and then you have to use your entire life force to maintain that presentation, rather than being like, hi, this is who I am. Oh, you like? Oh, cool. I like your naked version too. Shall we do this thing called life together? And you guys might even be saying like, well, Steph, you don't have a boyfriend. Yeah, because I'm teaching you all this other fucking shit about how to say no when it's not fucking true. Because I've seen so many fucking people just say yes because they didn't know how to say no without a reason. They're like, well, I don't really have a reason to say no. Do you need one? Do you really need a reason to say no? Is your no that insignificant that it needs to be justified and rationalized to actually be true for you? What was your reason to say yes? I didn't have a reason to say yes. Then why'd you say it? You know what I mean? Like, they don't need reasons. It's just like you either are or you're not. But when your mind is involved, you will believe that there is a need. That the reason matters more than the thing itself. Listen, there was no reason for me to move back to Prince George. I could have stayed in Vancouver all I wanted. And I could have stayed in a beautiful apartment and had a really killer roommate. Like, I could have done that forever. But, like, when I really felt into my body, it wasn't true for me to stay. I was a no to staying. And then I was a yes to moving back. I was a yes to living without running water for an indefinite amount of time. None of that's logical. You have to let go of the idea of things needing to be logical, because how many times do you have to abandon who you are just to support the logic? How many people have married someone because they're like, oh, we've just been together for so long? Who cares? Do you actually want to marry them? Well, we've been together for so long. What? That's not the answer to my question. Do you want to do that thing? Well, in my head, it makes it no. Do you, at the bottom level of who you are, want to do that thing? And then when you sit with like, yes, I do, sometimes you have to accept that the thing that you want might be painful. You might want to pursue a relationship with someone that you're a DPS to and they're a DPS to you, and know that that relationship may not last. That's just a part of the game. We don't logic ourselves into heartbreak. It just becomes a part of the process. It's a part of life. When you're in your mind, it's to avoid the outcomes you don't want, like heartbreak. You end up spending your entire life trying to strategize and plan for outcomes you cannot control. So, anywho, love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.